Peace. This is Wise for Wise Words Media, back at y'all for another round. And I'm here to address something that I saw on Instagram this morning in one of my group chats that it's like, you see, this is why misinformation is dangerous, man. There's nothing more dangerous than trick knowledge, man. False information. So there was a post put out by Baller Alert. By the way, ain't Baller Alert that website that be letting women know what club an athlete is going to be partying in? In any event, they put out this meme that says Shakur Stevenson, in his frustration with Devin Haney, decided to activate his mandatory. Almost as if saying that Devin Haney been ducking him or whatever, doesn't want the fight, so now Shakur Stevenson is activating the mandatory to make the fight happen. So let's do the knowledge to this. Let's properly dissect this. And you, Baller Alert, and your sports division, pay close attention. So in boxing, the way it works, there's 4 governing bodies, right? There's the WBC, the WBA, WBO, and the IBF. Those are the 4 sanctioning bodies for the 4 belts. Each sanctioning body may have somebody different as their number 1 contender from another sanctioning body. So for instance, Devin Haney, he is the undisputed champion, meaning he holds all 4 belts. You know, only 8 people have ever done that, and Devin Haney's one of the 8. So Haney holding all 4 belts means he has at least 2, 3, or 4 different mandatory opponents. For example, the WBC, in their structure, they have Shakur Stevenson as Devin Haney's number 1 contender to take on Devin Haney for the title, right? But then you got like the WBO, who has Tank Davis as Devin Haney's number 1 contender, that if he activates the mandatory, Devin Haney has to fight Tank Davis, or Devin Haney has to fight Shakur Stevenson based on these guys activating their mandatory. For over a year, Devin Haney has had these belts, and Devin Haney has told Shakur Stevenson, Tank Davis, and whoever out there, believe Teofimo Lopez was also a part of that, a part of those number 1 contenders at one point. So the Haney camp has always stood firm, stating if they really want to fight me, or they really want to fight with Dev, all they have to do is activate the mandatory. And Devin Haney has said this on countless interviews. He's on record saying it numerous times. If they want to fight me, all they have to do is activate the mandatory. Then we have no other choice but to fight that person. Tank Davis never activated the mandatory. Shakur Stevenson, even after the Lomachenko fight, did not activate his mandatory. And here we are in the month of July. The Lomachenko-Haney fight happened in May. That's 2 months already that passed by. Why is it that Shakur didn't activate the mandatory? And those who follow my page, y'all know I'm a huge Shakur Stevenson fan, huge Devin Haney fan. But the truth stands firm on itself and needs no help. Truth needs no validation. It stands firm on its own. And that's what I'm here, to state those truths and those facts. Devin Haney has told Tank, he's told Shakur, if you want the fight, just activate your mandatory. They never did it. So you know what? Devin Haney went a step further, because Devin Haney is the one that's been doing that type of stuff. He's been following that type of action, because when Vasyl Lomachenko was the WBC champion, Devin Haney had an eliminator fight, and he became the #1 contender. And he activated his mandatory to get the Lomachenko fight. But what happened instead? Lomachenko did not want to fight Devin Haney, so he dropped the belt and asked to become franchise champion. And the franchise, one of the perks of being a franchise champion is that you don't have to fight your mandatories anymore. AKA, Loma wouldn't have to fight Devin Haney. Just like Canelo didn't have to fight Big Jamal Charlo. So, Devin Haney has told them to do that the way that he did it. Activate your mandatory. And not only the way that he did it in the past, he continues to do it today, because just a couple days ago, the big news broke that Devin Haney activated his mandatory in his new weight class against Regis Prograis. Now, if that ain't chasing greatness, I don't know what is. He activated his mandatory against Lomachenko, who was the best at the time, 4 or 5 years ago, when he was the WBC champion and he was the Matrix and running through everybody. Devin Haney activated his mandatory then. Devin Haney activated his mandatory to fight Lomachenko. He petitioned to the WBC to fight against George Kambosos in order to get his title shot, which was honored, and he ended up getting the fight with George Kambosos. When you really want to fight, that's what you do. You petition and you activate your mandatories. Now he did it again. He has not fought at 140 pounds not once in his life, but already he made the big news that he's going to move to 140, and not just move to 140, but he's going to take on the top guy at 140, which is Regis Prograis, by activating his mandatory. But the story gets better, because a day after Devin Haney activated his mandatory and the news breaks that he's going to fight Prograis, or at least wants to fight Prograis next, now all of a sudden Shakur activates his mandatory. The timing don't seem a little off to y'all? But baller alert. Y'all into just informing women where somebody's going to be at in the club, right? Y'all casuals. Y'all casuals, man. And don't be misleading people, man. Do the knowledge, man. Y'all held at a higher standard. Y'all got a big platform. Do the knowledge. Is it true that Devin Haney is ducking Shakur and Shakur is really frustrated? Do the knowledge. Do y'all know? Did y'all know that Devin Haney and his team sat with Bob Arum, who is the promoter of Shakur Stevenson? And Bob Arum, in his efforts to continue to do business with Devin Haney, they sat down, Team Haney and Bob Arum, to discuss what future options could be out there for Devin Haney if he chooses to continue to do business with Top Rank as opposed to going back to the zone for the Regis Prograis fight. And Bob Arum never mentioned Shakur Stevenson's name to the Haney camp. And Bob Arum is on record stating he is not in favor of having Haney versus Shakur. You can look it up. The footage is there. He doesn't want that fight. So it's not to say Shakur doesn't want it, but Uncle Bob Arum doesn't want that fight. At least not yet. Which is smart business. That man's been a promoter for ages. He's been a promoter probably longer than most fight fans have been alive. However, you know, the Haney camp sat with him. They said that they didn't get any word about a Shakur Stevenson fight. So why is Baller Alert putting out that in Shakur's frustration with Haney, come on, man. Don't lie to the people like that. Devin Haney is just as solid and stand-up of a champion as Shakur Stevenson is, as Tank Davis is. That's why they're the three kings. And Teofimo, you know, he's one of the kings too, but according to him, he relinquished his spot. He says he's no longer competing. So that leaves us with just three kings now. And of those three kings, man, all three of them are 50-50 fights, man. Don't act like one of them is avoiding the other, because that's not the story. There's a lot of business, a lot of politics involved in boxing, and that couldn't be further from the truth, because both men know each other well, and they willing to fight each other. But the business got to be right. And that's what I think is going to come down to. They're going to build this fight up a little more, and we're going to guarantee to get that Shakur, Haney, Tank, Shakur. Those are all going to happen, but in their due time. That's how boxing always been. Nothing new. So I'm Wise for Wise Words Media. Do the knowledge to this video, baller alert, before you keep misinforming people. Peace.